Austin
Georgia
on the
played
West Coast.
against.
Playing
You know what the
Michigan.
funny thing is?
They called that.
If
Employ
you
their
saw
three tight ends
our previous
they didn't
show
do against Alabama.
or their tight ends. Welcome to a wintry Monday morning. We had a great weekend for football. I'm Harish. That's Dale. How can we get this started? I mean, it was just a jam-packed weekend starting from Saturday to Sunday. We started off with a great game on Saturday with who played on Saturday? I completely forgot as this age has gone
on. We started off with the game we watched, the Bengals and Raiders.
Right. So the Bengals and the Raiders, I mean, we called that in our thing. We were going back and forth. We had a great discussion post game at Hooters about the referees. And then once we started talking about that, then all of a sudden ESPN put out a post saying that the referees were kind of not well prepared, I would say, being nicely to them. And how that referee and that entire crew is not going to be working the entire playoffs. So that says a lot about refereeing. And with the game going on, you could tell quite clearly where some of these calls were getting called in, and it could affect. And I think it affected the outcome. I mean, even though I wanted the Bengals to win, I didn't want them to win like that. That's my personal opinion. I don't know what Dale thinks of that, but.
Yeah, we've discussed officials before, and I'm by no means a conspiracy theorist, but I feel like the Shield, the NFL, Goodell, all the powers that be, have a desired outcome and going into every game, and I think they make this is my own opinion, not even speculation. I'm not alleging anything. This is just my opinion from a lifetime of watching football. Going to games, I've seen it all. I've been through it all. The only thing I haven't done with regard to football is play it on a professional level. But I've coached it. I've even refed. So just my own observation, what I see going on in these games, I feel like they have a desired outcome going into it. They make the refs aware of that desired outcome, and they're like, they want to keep it to a point where it's not noticeable what they're doing. But this game on Saturday, to me, was blatantly obvious that the league wanted they wanted the outcome. Their desired outcome was they wanted the Bengals to win that game, and the calls got to a point where, and it wasn't just that one blown whistle call. To me, I was talking about the refs, the officiating for the entire game. I was on their case through the entire game. And another thing we've discussed before is the fact that officials are graded. So they're graded on each game, and that determines whether or not they're able to continue on in the whether they even work in the postseason, and whether they're able to continue on in the postseason. And the refs with the best scores officiate the Super Bowl. But I think that grading is all about, were your calls too obvious that the fans noticed? And in this case, they certainly were. And that's why Boger was trending on Twitter. Like, if you're a ref and you're trending, a ref should be invisible. Right. You're not. Nobody came to watch Jerome Boger. I mean, so if that's happening, then you drop the ball.
Yeah.
The fans noticed, the league noticed, and now you're done.
Yeah, and it's sad though, because now it's almost like saying that they have the power. Like, pretty much they have the power. Ooh, nice mug. Nice mug.
That's my favorite Christmas movie. It's the #1 classic Christmas movie, Elf.
Going on that, it's funny though, because you don't want the referees, as you say, to be in the limelight, because they should control the game, where protect the players and make sure a call is a call. These ticky-tack ones, I think they can get away with. But if it's a blatant, like holding, blatant pass interference, blatant hit to the head, blatant, like, roughing the passer or any kind of thing that's blatant, they should call it. If it's 50-50 call, you have to give it a little bit of leeway. If you're going to control the game, then you got to call it from the beginning to end on both sides, not just lean towards one or to the other. And again, in the Cincinnati game against the Raiders, you could see that it was kind of one-sided. I mean, even though I was going for Cincinnati because that's who I picked in our show, it's kind of like it kind of takes away from the fun though, because then there's like that what if the call went that way, would the outcome would have been the same, and you don't want that. Like, you really don't want that. And it's just sad. It's just sad.
Yeah, and this is one where the officiating definitely determined the outcome. The game was close enough where it does come down
Mhm.
to a call here and there. Usually, when teams lose and they make a mistake on a play, they say, "Okay, one play didn't cost us the game." But in a game like this, one call can cost you the game. It wasn't just one call though. And where the refs can control a game is on those 50-50 calls. Like a holding can be called on every single play.
Right.
Pass interference can be called on almost every single play if it's a pass. Defensive holding, defensive line holding, all these things are where the refs can here and there just pick and choose when they want to make those calls. In this game, most of those types of calls went the Bengals' way. And like I said, it was so obvious that Boger was trending. That's where he made his mistake, and he'll be getting a talking to about that, I'm sure. Like, we want you to make these calls, but come on, guys, we've been through this. You can't be that obvious. So.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I feel about it. To me, that's I get it. You've got to protect the brand. Who am I to question a multi-billion-dollar business? They know what they're doing.
But do they though? I
I
mean,
mean, obviously, look at Goodell he's made many egregious errors during his run, and all he's gotten was contract extensions. He's gotten on his most recent deal. It more than trumps his previous 45 million a year deal. He's got lifetime health care, whether he's working or not. He's got lifetime use of a private jet, whether he's commissioner or not. Like, these are things he negotiated in his new deal. So he's got that. If that's not power, I don't know what is. And despite the errors that the fans see, the owners love what he's doing. That's why he's in no danger of losing his job, despite the mistakes, despite dropping the ball on the Black Lives Matter stuff, despite dropping the ball on Kaepernick, which he now admits was a mistake. Like, despite all that, he's still getting paid. So yes, he knows what he's doing because he's making them money.
I
Another
think that's
thing,
where the problem. I think that's where the problem lays, though, because you have to protect. Yes, you have to protect the brand, but you also have to protect the players. You also have to protect the integrity of the
no, you
game.
don't. No, you don't.
Yeah, you
Because
do.
no, you don't. None of that matters.
Well, that should
One
matter,
thing,
though. That's
what
what I'm
if
saying, though.
Well, in a human being like moral aspect, the players of course should matter. But when it gets down to it, when have the players ever mattered? They're preaching player safety now, and they haven't done anything to protect the players. They added a game.
Yeah,
Like, that's player safety?
no,
No, come on now.
no.
So don't nobody. I don't care how much they preach it from the highest mountaintop. I'll never believe they care about the player safety. And like, y'all know, this is something I'm getting intense and passionate about because my brother played it. I saw it. So nobody can try to convince me that the league cares. I saw, I see team doctors doing whatever it takes to get these guys out there, no matter what condition they're in. I firmly believe Micah Parsons had a concussion yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Did he go
Yep.
back in the game? Yes. Player safety? I don't think so.
See,
So, mm,
that's where I have to like kind of. That's where I kind of like have to say like there needs to be some sort of like an internal investigation or something. The thing is, you have to change the game, but they're changing the game just for a buck. And I understand it's a business, but you're putting people's lives on the line every day in and day out, and they're getting paid for it. But I understand that. But at the end of the day, the longevity of this brand needs to come back to the integrity. Because if you're making millions and millions of dollars just for saying kind of brushing aside certain things just for a buck, that's why the owners love them, because they get all this money, all this revenue, and they split it between the 32 owners. And at the end of the day, the players are the ones, even though they have a players union and all that jazz that goes on, I don't even think the players union is even that strong. They just agree to.
see, this is a whole other path I can go down and get passionate about, and maybe I will later. But
Yeah.
right now, I want to stick to where I am with the league, and you brought up integrity. First of all, integrity is not a word that I would bring up with any business because it's never about that. It's never about the employees. It's always, always, always about the bottom line. Even with this country and the citizens, the taxpayers, it's about the bottom line. Period. That's another road I could go down, but I'm not going. I'm not even going to. No, but with the league, it's just flat out not about that. What it would take for change, it would take two things. One of two things. It would take the fans to care, which won't happen because the fans are getting their games. That won't happen.
Mm.
So what could actually happen is some congressional oversight because the league gets major tax breaks. And if with the leagues getting these major, I believe I don't think they operate as a nonprofit anymore, and that's a
Mhm.
recent change.
Right.
But like within the past 5 years, that changed. But they still get major tax breaks.
Mhm.
With the leagues getting these tax breaks, that means the government should be able to step in and actually regulate things like player safety.
Right.
The government should be able to step in and be like, "You're concerned about player safety and having the 17th game. How about we subtract a game
Mhm.
if you really care about player safety?" I
Yep.
mean, so I don't care if you care about player safety or not. Just don't pretend you care.
See, that's
Be
the thing.
honest about it.
Great point. Very good point. And that's what, like, I wanted to have another, we should have another show on it. But it's just that, like, because you can see the cracks, right? You can see the cracks happening before our eyes with the referees, with certain ways calling and how player safety is taken into consideration. You're just thinking, like, when will the dam break? Because if the United States government can investigate baseball steroids, they should be able to investigate NFL corruption too within their own ranks. But
And see, I wouldn't even label it corruption because it's not like, anybody's being paid off to make these decisions. The decisions are swayed by the paying public. The paying public wants more football. So what
mhm,
do? You add a game,
yeah,
uh, and you sell that commercial revenue. I
well,
mean, the
it's
public wants football.
they do, but I think it's corruption in the sense that it's like the way the mentality is set. It's like it's almost like a wink, wink, and a nudge, nudge. Corruption can happen many different ways. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I vote for you, and then it's almost like I vote for your stuff, but at the end of the day, you're going to vote for my stuff. So it's almost like backroom dealings in a legality way. But it's just here nor there. I mean, it's just that's another pathway that I like that we can talk about, because at the end of the day, the way I feel, the way Dale feels is completely, it's almost the same, but we're just saying it differently. Because I just feel that the players are the ones that are making the money for these owners to get rich and the league to get rich. Without players, there's no league. So,
And like I said,
and
on paper that makes sense. I mean, that's just, of course, that's obvious. But what it boils down to is it's. I mean, to say it, to hear it come out of my mouth, like that what I'm saying shouldn't make sense, but the players don't matter. That
yeah,
that shouldn't make sense,
it
but
shouldn't.
but that's the truth.
It is because it's almost like this, right? If player X doesn't want to play, they have a player B that's going to come up and fill his shoes anyway. So at the end of the day, it's almost like,
Yep,
how
and
are you?
that's why guys like Antonio Brown and
Mhm.
people who show out and try to make it like, oh, and people who think it should be about them and the league should care about them. Even Kaepernick, with the league, not like the league should care, but why? There's
Mhm.
always somebody else. Nobody's. Tom Brady got moved out of New England. If that can happen,
Anything can happen.
Peyton Manning got moved out of Indianapolis. If like Joe Montana didn't finish with San Francisco, if these things don't happen, like who are you? Like nobody's important. Tom
Mhm.
Brady got moved. If that
Yeah.
happens, that should show every player from top to bottom. You're not important.
Yeah. That, no, I mean, and you know what the funny thing is? I finally think the players are kind of realizing now this is a business. So they're going to get their money, and once they get their money, they're going to be like, you know what? I'm not going to play for 10 years. I'm going to play for maybe
That's
six.
why. That's
And,
why
and
more and more guys are retiring early.
yeah,
Get
and
in, get rich, and get out healthy.
yeah, and at the end of the day, like, people are so savvy now with business deals and the internet and with other, they can just reach out and say, hey, I want to invest in something. Is this good? Or have a side hustle that can make them more money than, for longevity purposes too. So at the end of the day, I mean, and maybe that's the future of the NFL. Maybe that's the future. You play for a couple of years, get your money, get out, get
Should
healthy.
be.
It should
It
be.
should be for every position besides quarterback, who they're protected. So you could play
Yeah.
quarterback like Brady. You could play 40 years at quarterback and get out
Right.
healthy still.
Right.
But to close out with the refs, um, it's benefiting them more and more these days to become noticed, to get their name mentioned on TV, to make those calls so they're getting the television time. It's more important for them more now than ever
Mhm.
because they've seen their colleagues get out and get these multi-million-dollar TV deals to be the guy,
Mm.
the referee on Fox, the referee on
The head,
CBS,
yeah.
like the
Mhm.
guys that they have on there, the consultants. Um, you want to get noticed so you can get those kind of deals because they're getting paid way more than the guys who are working officials are. They're getting paid way more. I'm sure better benefits. So and they don't have to run up and down the field anymore. They don't have to be in the elements. They sit in a cushy booth. So it's benefiting them more, and I think that's also hurting the game and keeping it on the level,
Mhm.
which it never was, but keeping it close to the level. They want to get noticed so they
Mhm.
can get a deal.
You
Because the
know where
guys who are working now are guys you heard every Sunday. You
yeah.
heard those names, and now
Mhm.
they're on TV. So
Yeah.
that's what they want.
That's true. And you know where the rest didn't matter is the Buffalo and the Patriot game. Those refs didn't matter at all in that game. That was a total blowout.
Nope. And that game was Josh Allen. That was who he has to. That's his ceiling.
Mhm.
That apex is he's a 1A elite quarterback at his ceiling, but his floor is like a Carson Wentz, where he'll go out there and lose you a game. So if he can, like, maybe this will be the postseason where he steps up and realizes his full potential and becomes like Aaron Rodgers is elite every week. Every single week he goes out, he's elite. He will keep his team no matter how the team is playing in the game every week just because he's Aaron Rodgers. Josh Allen can be that some weeks, and then he can go out there and lose it for you some weeks. Maybe this is the time where he realizes what he is and keeps it consistent. And the next season, he's just that elite quarterback. Frankly, I'll believe that when I see it because he hasn't shown it. And I'll believe he'll still be more next week if they go out there and do the same thing. But it's hard to predict that. I wouldn't. He's not a guy. Still not a guy I would bet on. But like I said, what he showed the other night on Saturday night is what he can be.
Yeah.
He has that
I don't
talent.
think, and that's not the New England team of old. So at the end of the day, they're not they're not formable for him. So he did go out there and pick them apart pretty significantly. But when he goes up against the other like creme de la creme, let's see how that's how he stacks out. Because as you said, his ceiling is his ceiling. I mean, we knew what he is, but his floor is so I mean, he can crash down just like Carson Wentz. I mean, he could do that. So we just have to go see what he can bring day in and day out. And if he can be that quarterback for Buffalo, they got something special going on over there. Something
No,
very
they do.
special.
That's a Super Bowl team if he continues to play the way he did.
Yeah.
No question about it. It's just like I said, that's not something I'd bet on, and that's why I mean it was a bad pick to pick New England as things turned out. But the only reason I go that direction is because he's so hard to trust. If his talent is elite, his consistency is not. If he's that guy every week, nobody's beating them.
Mhm.
Nobody. There's not a team in the NFC that can beat them. There's not a team in the AFC that can beat them if he's playing like that. They're the Super Bowl champions for the first time if he can continue to play like that. It's
Is
all
that
on
his
him.
next step in his growth is to be more consistent on that level? Is that his goal? Or
To me, the next step in his growth is not even elite. He doesn't need to be. I don't like the way he played Saturday night. That I don't need him to be there now. He's still young. I just need him to not have that as low a floor. To not be the guy who's going to lose you the game. So you win and lose games. That happens is pretty much 50-50 every week. But he shouldn't be the reason they're losing games, and he has been with inconsistent play. That can't happen for him to make that next step. Those games need to be over like now, and then he can continue to grow. So we'll see. He has what it takes. He has to keep showing it. So,
True. What about the Eagles and Buccaneers, man? Jeez. I did not expect the Eagles to put a goose egg in the first half.
That was one where I was kind of playing around where I said I picked the Eagles to win it. But we all picked them to keep it within 8. So just because their running game had been so strong, but they got out there and they got run up on early. Maybe Brady heard those same kind of mumblings. I heard all these radio shows saying the same thing, that they expected Philly to keep it close, and Brady wasn't having that at all. He didn't even when they were up, like when the game was well out of hand, he didn't leave the game. So he wasn't out there messing around. He didn't
the commentators we're in the conversation. I think it's time to take out Brady, and they're like, Brady doesn't want to come out.
They should have took him out in the third quarter. And if he would have gone out there and gotten hurt, that would have looked foolish. But I'm sure Arians probably brought it up to him to leave. But he was like, I know, knowing how he is, he didn't want to leave the game. He wanted to keep running it up.
Now you think the Buccaneers are going to still continue their role and move in, because they play.
So they'll have the Cardinals or Rams next, and they'll easily handle either one of them. For their, an easier matchup would be the Rams, because Stafford, I mean, come on. But with Murray, he's such a wild card that I wouldn't want to face that, because you don't know what you're going to get. With Stafford, you know what you're going to get.
Right.
They're going to try to run the ball to hide him, and then he's going to have to make a play, and he's going to make a play to you. So That's what I would want to run up
Mhm.
against
Yeah.
if it's me.
And I was actually surprised by their defense, the Buccaneers defense, the way they played. So if they can play just the same way against that team, I mean, against both any of the winner between the Cardinals or the Rams, uh, I mean, you got to say repeat. You have to say repeat if they can hold at that caliber level.
Their defense, when healthy at full strength, that's an elite level
Yeah.
defense. Um, and Sue, of course, is not what he once was, but you got him and Vita Vea in the middle.
Yes.
I mean,
That's two monsters. I mean, I don't
yeah,
know what you can do with that. But man, but the game that I wanted to talk about significantly was the 49ers and Cowboys game. That game, I was very angry. Only because even though I picked the Cowboys to win, even though I was so crushed, you and David had the on point with Debo and the entire. I thought the fatigue might have played, but one thing I can tilt my hat on is that defense for the Cowboys did keep them in the game. It's just the offense kind of sputtered at the end. Oh, the offense, there was no offense. I'll put it that way. There was no offense. There was no offense.
yeah, and I'm not sure that the defense kept them in the game as much as Jimmy G did with that one
Oh,
interception there.
yeah.
That was the defense didn't make a play there.
Nah.
Jimmy G threw it right to him. That was a horrible pass and in a tough situation. And I put that on Shanahan. Why are they throwing the ball? They're in
Mm.
control of the game. Keep pounding it. And that game, like you said, went exactly as I expected. The 49ers offensive line with Trent Williams back, they're already like without him, that's an A+ offensive line. With him, that's a Super Bowl of that alone can take that
Mhm.
team to the Super Bowl. And then their defense playing at the level they are, and they didn't start giving up points until they lost 3 pieces to injury down the stretch. Bosa went out. A couple of their linebackers got hurt
Mhm.
too. Hopefully those guys are back. So the matchup next week with Green Bay will be if their defense is fully healthy next week, that's another one. I'm picking them to win that game.
Mhm.
Just because of that run game, and that I expect the elements to play a factor next week. With that being the case, you want a strong running game. The Green Bay's running game was surprisingly strong too.
Mhm.
But if it's run game for run game, I'm taking San Fran, and their
Yeah.
defense to me is better than Green Bay's too. So like I said, I expected this game to go that way. And I expect next week to be more of the same, uh, pending health status of those players.
I was kind of disappointed because I thought, honestly, the way their defense with the Cowboys defense played throughout the season, I thought they would have given the 49ers a little bit of a struggle. But I mean, they game planned really well. I mean, we wrote it in our tweet that, the 49ers just outcoached the Cowboys, the entire Cowboys staff. And I honestly think what's the offense coordinator, Kellen Moore or whatever his
Yeah.
name is, he's
Mhm.
not as good as the OC as people make him out to be.
He's absolutely not.
Yeah.
His scheme, I actually hate it. I don't
Mhm.
hate many things. I hate his scheme. Hate it because he's wasting. There's so much talent on that offense. You say they need to reevaluate, and they do. Not the personnel though. They've got what it takes. Like that offense, that should be right up there with 49ers
49ers.
as far as running the ball. They should be there. As far as passing the ball, they should be like on the level with Green Bay,
Yeah.
Buffalo, because they've got an elite QB. They've got great wide receivers. They've
Mhm.
got I think 2 decent tight ends.
Yeah.
And so where's the weakness? The weakness
Mhm.
is on the coaching staff.
Mhm.
Kellen Moore's offense is trash. With that personnel, they should be running a Shanahan style scheme where you're
Yeah.
running stretch zone runs, you're running a lot of rollouts with Dak, and just letting Dak like cook.
Dak.
Let
Yeah.
Russ cook, let Dak cook.
Yeah.
It's so conservative. Like they're playing side to side football as opposed to going down the field like they should be. I don't know what's going on there. And then to hear his name mentioned and head coaching searches,
Yeah.
have at it.
Go for
That's
it.
a
Yeah.
huge mistake.
That's what I don't understand. You have Ezekiel Elliott at one point in time in his career. I mean, the last couple of years was probably in there for the number one running back in the league, and now he's like kind of deteriorated to like almost like a second fiddle to the like not the backup like the co-starting running back. I just don't understand that. And and as you say, I think a zone running scheme for them will tremendously help both of those running backs because both of them can go north and south. And when they cut, it's over with. You can't stop them. So, and they're trying to run north. They're trying to do like off tackle north and south running. That's not going. That's not how they're built. And uh, when you have a tight end that is one of the best tight ends in the NFL, but maybe a little bit underneath the radar. Use him. He wasn't covered the entire game. They never even, I mean, that one catch he had towards the end, I'm like, where was this in the beginning first 3 quarters where you could have exposed a 49ers defense? But, you know, it's here nor there. It is what it is. But I would like to say we now have 26 followers on Twitter. so please, like, you know, like our stuff, and, you know, hope we're giving you the same content that, you know, you guys enjoy. Obviously it's showing. So please, you know, like our channel and subscribe and tell us what you like, what you don't like, what you guys want to hear. If this is what you guys want to hear, like this kind of in-depth analysis or anything, please let us know. We're more than happy to, you know, break it down and tell you how we feel and give us your opinions. But it's all to Dale. I will say Dale is the one who is like the Twitter king. So if you
Back in my day, when Twitter first started, I was the Twitter king. I was on there tweeting all the time. So I have, you know, experience from the past, but more recently, how that all social media I haven't been involved in like that. Since we're trying to get something going here and grow it, you know, got to get back in the game here. You know, yeah. So
but yeah, man,
you know, interact.
Yeah, interact with us. We're more than happy to, like, you know, say what we feel. Believe me, like, we have a lot of opinions. We just don't share it outside of this. But if you want us to know, we'll give it to you. But we knew that to wrap up the segment, the Steelers and Chiefs, we knew that game was going to be a blowout. We knew that game is not going to amount to nothing. So we're not even going to. If you want to touch on it, we can. If not, we can just move on to tonight's game.
Yeah, just because it was Big Ben's last outing, and he officially announced he's retiring. I think he had another year in him. I wish he would have come back. Same with, I was thinking the same thing about Eli Manning. Eli definitely had another year in him.
Yeah.
It was just the team was ready to move on. That's why he did. He didn't want to change teams. Jacksonville was putting out some feelers. They wanted him to come down there. I think he could have played it. I think he could have played 2 more years. His arm was still. He still had an elite level arm. I always think his arm was way better than Peyton's. He just didn't have it up here like Peyton. But back to Big Ben. I think at this stage in his career, he was actually a better quarterback because when he was younger, he was running around, scrambling around more. And y'all know I don't like that. But that the strictly pocket passer Ben, I think he was better. But his receivers weren't helping him out at all yesterday. They had some drops. The Steelers' offensive line is terrible. And that made him look bad as a strictly pocket passer now. So they've got some holes they need to clean up. And I know a guy like Tomlin will get that down. They'll be right back in the mix next season. But of course, the Chiefs, Jackson Mahomes' brother, he went out there and did what he does, lit them up. I can't call him Patrick Mahomes anymore because he's really in the backseat to his brother. He's living in his shadow. So I got to, you know, I'm just being honest about that. That's just the truth. But Jerick McKinnon, he had a sighting out there yesterday. He was running like back in, you know, a few years ago. That was how he was. He went out there and took charge of that game too, really helped them put it away. The Chiefs, that's a dangerous team. I really want to see them in Buffalo. I hope they both, you know, stay on track to meet each other. That'll be a great game. And if both QBs are playing at an elite level, I expect Buffalo to win that game. It's just you don't know what you're going to get out of Josh Allen. But if he brings it, the Buffalo should win that game.
I mean, yeah, I completely agree. All you need is that one like spark, man. You know what I'm saying? Like you just hit a hot streak and you go. And I think Josh Allen's, hitting his stride now. Because if those two teams meet and he's hot, I mean, how can you not pick Buffalo at that point? How can you not? I mean, their defense.
Yeah, Buffalo won the division. I think they finished up with the same record. I'm trying to figure out where that game would be.
I think it will be in Buffalo though, because they have the better record, right?
I can't remember. I'll go with that. I think that's right. I'll go with that.
Yeah, I mean, because then that will be a huge swing. Because going from Kansas City all the way to Buffalo, the transit. I mean, cold ain't going to matter, but it's just the time travel and the distance.
It's a different kind of cold up there. I mean, it gets cold in Kansas City. It snows and stuff, but that Buffalo cold,
that's frigid. I was surprised it didn't snow yesterday over there. I was like looking at the game and I was like, where's the snow? Usually at this time, there's at least one playoff game with snow. But man, all I got to say is tonight's game, if the Rams lose, which I think they are, if the Rams lose, I think McVay is going to be on the hot seat to find someone better, or he's done. Because they constructed this elite thing because of Matt Stafford, and they were pumping up, and I did pick them to win the Super Bowl, and I kind of I retracted again and off again, on and again. If they lose tonight, and it's damn well sure they can, I think McVay maybe on the hot seat next year. Maybe on the hot seat next year.
See, that's not an absurd thing to say because as we established on a previous show, there's precedent for a coach going 13-13 and getting fired for losing in the playoffs. But with McVay, I mean, as teams are proven every year, it's so hard to find a head coach these days. So having him already there established, having his system established, it's hard. Like I could see him being on the hot seat for continuing to not get the quarterback situation squared away. But as far as just like his coaching, it's hard to argue with that. They're in it every year. So I don't think they'd make a move, but I mean, they got to get the quarterback situation squared away. But they've given Stafford money now, so I don't know. They're gonna lose, and they're gonna be stuck with him and his garbage. Maybe they can like get a rookie in the later rounds or something, bring him in to compete, and maybe that'll make Stafford pick it up. I don't see that. I expect more of the same from him. I expect them to lose tonight. I hope it's a good game. But yeah,
I mean, I hope so too. But I just have a fear that like something. I think Kyler Murray's gonna have the game of his life tonight for some reason. I have a feeling that, like, because you have what JJ Watt's back on that defensive line. You get that defensive line with him in it. They're pretty good. They
were good without him.
Yeah, they're good without him too. But with him in it, I think that gives a little bit extra layer because I think he's going to come only on third downs. I don't think they're going to use him on first and second just to wear him out or anything. But man, like I think Stafford's going to crumble underneath the pressure today. I think he's going to crumble because
I agree with that. What I was going to say is I expect it to be like a close game, and then for him to make that play that cost him the game, just like he did against the Niners.
Yeah, like how Jimmy G almost did against the Cowboys when he threw that interception. He's going to be like man. Like I just want to wait what happens if that happens in the Twitterverse. Like it's going to be a massacre.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
As far as quarterbacks go, we brought up Jimmy G just then. Derek Carr, who knows what his future is going to hold with them. They're gonna go ahead and get the turnover going there, which is unfortunate for that poor interim coach who came in and righted that ship and got them into the playoffs. It'd be nice to see him get a shot, but it's not going to happen. So they're going to clean house. Will a new coach come in and want to change the QB around? That's up in the air. For them, it would be smart to keep Derek Carr, but I can see them wanting to move on after all these years of not being able to take the next step. And if they do, if I'm Washington, I'm right on the phone to Carr's agent. I want him here. Jimmy G is going to be on the market because they're moving on to Trey Lance next season. No matter what happens this season, they win it all. They're still moving on. It's that's just the situation. So Jimmy G is going to be out there. He's another guy I'd be all over if I'm Washington. I'll take either one of them, not just for next season, not a bridge. I'll reach out. I'll pick them up and I'll give them a deal.
5 years,
whatever they want.
Yeah,
because I want those guys. Because you're not going to be in the market for Aaron Rodgers, not going to be in the market for Russell Wilson, not going to be in the market for Deshaun Watson. The next tier is those guys. I want that.
So if it was me, I would I would push hard for Derek Carr. I will push hard for Derek Carr.
Same. I call him elite.
The only reason I'm saying that is what Jimmy G shows is the lack of that crucial moment, because we're going to be in a lot of crucial moment games next year. If that one interception can make or break us, I think Jimmy G has that kind of contract that he'll throw that one crucial interception that will break that team. With Derek Carr, he's that kind of quarterback that will make the mistakes early, but will make it up in the end. Like he will make your team win in the end. And he has that, like, you need a good guy, you need a good locker room. And
I think he's a leader. He's a leader.
Yeah. And with the offensive power, I think Washington's offense is, in my opinion, the talent is slightly better or equal to the Oakland offense, because he's going to transition into players I don't think has that kind of speed, but it's the same talent. I mean, it's just used differently. So this will be Derek Carr's, and the Washington line is actually really good. It's not that bad either. So at the end of the day, he's going to get protected. He'll have a scheme that I think will work. I think Scott Turner's offense is perfect for Derek Carr. Perfect for Derek Carr. I'm just
Yeah, his offense, and I think hopefully he noticed this. It needs some tweaks, but I think what really held him back was the lack of a quarterback. So with that being the case, if I'm them, I'm getting one of those guys. This is my plan in the offseason. Getting one of those guys, drafting a receiver in the first round because Terry McLaurin needs a compliment, and you can't just keep bringing these guys you got off the street opposite him because that makes it easy to just double him, and whatever else happens, you deal with it. Get a receiver in the first round. Get one of those quarterbacks. Let Scott Turner run his real scheme, which I think would be more down the field. And
Mhm.
if those things happen, this is WFT's division. This is the Hogs' division next season.
Yeah.
Because Kellen Moore will probably still be there, and if that happens, then the Cowboys. I'm not worried about them at all. Go ahead.
No. What I was saying was, I just feel like if they don't go after Derek Carr, like then this team's front office is a bunch of hosers because like with Mark Mayhew, and the thing is, what we said, this Carolina brain trust needs to break up. Like somebody needs to like come in here
Yeah,
and kind of like change the mantra. There's change
I'm
the
over
mindset.
it. I'm
Yeah,
over that.
yeah, because I mean, yes, you would want people who you like and kind of fit into the system. Like you bring people who you know, but you can't bring this many people. Like it's like, I mean, they're looking for a new strength and training coaches. They're looking for new like other people, other individuals in their organization. But I mean, having 95% of your staff from your previous thing it didn't work out this year, and it showed. It clearly showed. So maybe put a wrinkle or two in it to have a different mindset. Maybe it could happen. Who knows? But they just need to find a different way of winning. And I think Jack Durley needs to sit down and probably reevaluate how he needs to run his defense too, just a tad bit to make sure if Chase is coming back, what can we do as a defense? Because if defense is your king and you need to step up to certain situations, take a page out of the Tampa Bay playbook. I mean, hell,
Yeah,
if
the fact that the defense played so well when Chase and Montez went out, to me tells me that it's not about Del Rio's scheme. It's
mm,
about those two individuals have to get better. Um, Chase Young looks the part. You gotta get some moves though. You can't just I'm gonna speed rush every single play. You
correct.
might get one, but how about let's get 10 with some different moves instead of getting one.
Mhm.
But where Jimmy G and Derek Carr differ, and this is a results driven league, where they differ is wins and losses.
Mm.
Jimmy G's his record as a starter is absurd. His record in the playoffs as a starter is even more absurd. He's been to a Super Bowl. Derek Carr has been to one playoffs healthy and hasn't won a game. So those are things you have to factor in when making the evaluation of the two. With Derek Carr, he's probably somebody you can go hand the reins to the offense more and expect to really make more plays. Jimmy G, though, is somebody who, okay, fine, he's not going to be the guy to go out there and win the game for you if you need that. But I think he'll bring more consistent play to the position. And if you can lean on the run like San Francisco's doing,
Mm.
which Washington can do,
Mhm.
he's the kind of guy I would want in there, and I would expect a better record. I would expect playoff success out of him. With Derek Carr, I wouldn't expect that yet, but I also wouldn't be surprised by it. He has the talent to do that. So
Yeah, because because that's the thing I think Scott needs to look at is have a little bit more of a dominance in the run than more than the pass, to go back to the old school ways of running. Because when you do have Antonio Gibson, who, I mean, yes, he had a lot of fumbles this year and he didn't kind of live up to what he needed to live up to because of the fumbles. It can get fixed in the offseason. He's still learning the position. It's just how you grip the ball. Sometimes, like, as a receiver, when you grip, it's the grip strength when you coming out of your release to get it, and then when you're running up, it's a different kind of grip strength because no one's around you, depending on where you are. But with the running back, everybody's getting you. Everybody's out to get you in the sense that you're running into tight spaces. Everybody's knocking that ball. So it's just a mental thing how for him. But the only thing is, if it becomes more of an issue, there's no going to be, I mean, Antonio Gibson may not be on this team if he keeps on fumbling, unfortunately. And I like Antonio Gibson because he gives you that 5 yards a carry, 3 yards a carry, and then boom, home run. So if he can work on that fumble stuff, because now teams are keying in on him. Beforehand, they didn't know who he was, but now they're keying in on him. So now this is his next step in his learning, is how to grip that ball and how to get more yards when they're going after me like that. So if they can switch their offense to more of a run heavy, I think, and then sprinkle in the passes and use their tight ends more, that will give Terry a little bit more of like, okay, a little bit more open shots, in my opinion. But, just a novice fan.
Yeah, I think they expected Gibson to kind of be that the Christian McCaffrey, Swiss
Mhm.
Army knife type of player, but he hasn't developed into that. And then with his fumbling issues, I could see a scenario next season where he's not the primary the bell cow. He's not the primary
Mhm.
ball carrier, and just a third down back. They have McKissick in that role now, but with him coming off of an injury next season, who knows what you're going to get there? I expect him to come back and be the same player, but if you've got a guy you can't rely on to be the every down back in Gibson, then you transition him to that role since he played receiver. He can be the third down pass
Mhm.
catcher, and then let Patterson or Williams, right? Williams was the other guy.
Yeah.
I let one of those guys, or let them share the duties
Mhm.
as the primary ball carriers. You can't, because if you don't value the football, like Gibson has shown he hasn't. If you turn the ball over, there's no place for you on the field as an every down back.
Mhm.
So
And the thing is, I'm very high on Peterson. I am very, very high on. I'm sorry, Peterson or Patterson? God,
Patterson.
Patterson. Yeah, I'm very high on him, because if you haven't seen him play in Buffalo, I mean that at the university, not at the not the
Yeah.
team, but he was stellar. He was stellar, and I think if he gets the opportunity to shine, he will take it, no doubt about it. And he also hates Dallas, which is also good because he's a local boy. So at the end of the day, you kind of need a little bit of sprinkling like that. But what
Yep.
I think who's not going to be on that team next year is Deron Payne, as we spoke about. I think he's gone, because I understand the tensions, what happened. You can't do that on the sideline. You can speak to somebody, you can talk to them, as we discussed in our previous show. All that stuff is locker room stuff. If you want to fight somebody or you want to have an argument like that, you do it in the locker room, so no one can see you on national TV. I'm sorry, that's my take on it. But putting your hands on somebody is not the right way of going about it. I think everything just kind of boiled over, which is understandable. But if I had to choose somebody to leave, that might leave, it's probably him or get traded.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens with that. I think he has a year remaining on his deal. Not 100%, but I think he does. And they're not just going to give him up for nothing. He's too good of a player for them to just ship him out. I know he doesn't want to come back. Judging by the things his dad has said in social
Mhm.
media, I don't think he wants to come back. But it'll be hard for them to move him. One with 1 year remaining on his deal, and two with teams knowing that he wants out.
Yeah.
The team doesn't have any leverage there, so
Mhm.
we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah. But what about for Denver? Are they going to go hard for a QB in the draft, or are they going to? Well, I mean, they're going to go for Aaron Rodgers anyway. But with that in mind, are they going to add any other pieces besides Devontae Adams in their receiving core?
Really, they don't even need him, but I know that they want to play together.
Mhm.
And Green Bay, their hand might be forced with that,
Mhm.
knowing that he's going to leave anyway because his contract is coming up next season. They might make a move there. Denver doesn't need him though. They've got a very strong receiving core with Sutton, Patrick, and Judy. I
Mhm.
mean, that's top tier receivers right there.
Mhm.
They can improve at tight end, but Fant is decent. I think he'll be better with the quarterback. Um, they've already interviewed Green Bay's offensive coordinator. I expect that to be the hire. I know they're bringing in some African American candidates just because they have to, but they're not seriously considering anybody else who doesn't have ties to Green Bay because they want Rodgers. That's their number one target. They're not focused on anything else.
Mhm.
They know that Elway knows for him this is make or break. So he might even be offering ownership stakes since he's bidding on the team to Aaron
Mm.
Rodgers to come. Uh, who knows? Who knows what kind of backdoor dealings are coming on? But I fully expect him to be in Denver next season. Fully expect them to hire Green Bay's OC, and then from there just make other moves around the team. Maybe draft a pass rusher. I think
You
they
think
might
Vaughn
need a
will come
lineman
back?
too. Who?
You think Von Miller will come back?
Not sure what his contract status is, but I think I think he'll be under contract with the Rams. I'm
Mm.
sure when he sees the makeup of the team, he'll want to come back, especially playing with Stafford. But
Yeah. He probably wants another ring.
Yep.
Oh man, so let's like we had great takes in football. You want to switch over to how our beloved Wizards got spanked by one player?
Not really, but I guess we have to.
You know what the crazy thing is, right? Like we the game wasn't even close because of that one player. Simmons, I was like, because when you subtract 31 points from the score, the Wizards win.
People who don't, I mean, nobody out here really follows Western Conference basketball because
Mm.
the games are on so late. But living in Colorado, I see these teams and these guys all the time. I'm well aware of who Anthony Simons is.
Right.
He was the guy that they expected to come in and be the perfect complement to McCollum and Lillard. But his
Mm.
play had been kind of inconsistent there. And I think due to the fact that those guys are both of them are primary ball handlers. So with him not getting the touches, it was hard for him to develop and hard for him to really see who he is. But I could see the potential that dude had. And now he's showing it without
Mm.
those two guys. So by himself, the rest of the roster is not strong enough for him to lead them anywhere. But he is definitely a dynamic talent, and he took it to the Wizards.
Oh.
And guards always play well against the Wizards, so that doesn't surprise me.
Mm.
I'm shocked that they won. We said on a previous show we expected them to go out there and take care of business against Portland,
Yeah.
and it just didn't play out that way. They lost at home to a really
Mhm.
bad team.
It's like because I think I said this might be their measuring stick before they get into that stretch. And we said that stretch will be their measuring stick. I don't know anymore, man, because if they lose to a team with an individual who is super, super good, and he scores 31 points and you lose by 5, that kind of tells you that you don't know how to stop one player. There's no like you can't
And to
stop
me, the
it.
game wasn't as close as the score. So
Yeah, I mean, but even at that, like to score 31 points, that's a lot. And not even to have. And one thing, okay, instead of poo-pooing on them, I will say this: Dinwiddie is kind of showed what Dinwiddie can do. Kuzma was off that night. I mean, he's going to have an off
yeah,
night. We even spoke about that. Like
he's off because I bet on him on the points, rebound,
what?
assist over.
Oh.
So that's why he was off. Because I only bet $1, but I lost my dollar. But I'm not, and people might point to the fact that Beal was out. I'm not giving them that because their entire roster is back outside of him,
Right.
and they've been playing better without him as a team. They
Yeah.
still lost that game. With him coming back for this stretch, though, we'll see how the fully healthy Wizards team is,
Mhm.
and then they can evaluate the roster and see what moves they need to make from there.
Mhm.
I'll say it again: they still need to move Bertans, so we'll
Yep.
see how things play out.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see, man. Because at the end of the day, this team can be very dangerous, or it can be very like you know in the bottom sellers because the way they're playing. And without, so I didn't know this, but apparently the coach is on health and safety protocols. His assistant coach is on health and safety protocols. The one that coached against Portland. So you have the next man coming up. So I want to see in this crucial stretch, are all these three going to have like a Zoom meeting to discuss what needs to be done? Because
I don't think that the coach, the guy who coached against Portland, I think he was doing his own thing. I don't think Unseld had any
oh
any
really?
influence over that game, with judging by the substitutions, because the fact that Holiday hadn't played the previous 3 games. The fact that he got minutes shows me that this guy was doing his own thing.
So this is what I wanted to ask you. Like the assistant coach, shouldn't you follow the game plan of the head coach? Like in situations like this, like don't they have a conversation and say, hey, like this is what we want, but then if you feel that you need to substitute certain players, like I want you to have this substitution list in mind, or he just went like, well, I have it, but I don't want to do it.
From a game plan standpoint, I think that's my opinion. I know nothing about the NBA coaching from a coaching aspect. My opinion of how X's and O's and game planning goes, that's all on the assistant coaches. So running a game plan, he was probably running what he already would run, but substitutions, I think, comes down to the head coach, because the head coach is he, like the assistants handle X's and O's, in practice and all that stuff. But in game flow, the coaches, that's on him, I believe, getting the subs in and out. And I know in Golden State, Steve Kerr has his. They no matter what the score is in the game, they stick to if Steph's coming out, Steph's coming out. That's what they stick to it. And so that's I know that's all on Kerr. So I think I would expect all head coaches to handle substitutions. And that's why I'm saying Holiday, he wouldn't normally get in, but that
Right.
coach, he put him out there because that was what he wanted to do.
True, true, true. Yeah, man. Shoot. But yeah, I mean that goes. Yeah, we wrapped up everything. Anything else you want to talk about before we head off for the week?
Not just I know the matchups for next weekend came out. Those are some pretty good looking games, especially 49ers and Green Bay. So maybe we'll before those games are played, we can do some official picks. But you got also Bengals and
Oh,
oh gosh, oh Titans,
Titans. Yeah.
Bengals Titans.
Ooh,
That's going to be a great game.
yes.
You got Derrick Henry coming back. I don't know what to expect out of that one. That's one where on paper you might look at it and think the Bengals have a better team, but with Derrick Henry, I mean, you never know. And then Tannehill is also an up and down, sometimes elite level quarterback, sometimes dud. So, and then he has those weapons and AJ Brown and Julio Jones. So this should be a battle.
Hmm.
Great game coming up.
Yeah,
Looking
because
forward to that one.
I think them running the ball hides his deficiencies for Tannehill.
See, a lot of people don't like him. I liked him in college. I liked him in Miami,
Mm,
and I like him as a quarterback. I well, I love the fact that he played receiver. Like that's why I started to like him because he played receiver in college and then became a quarterback.
mm,
And then from there, I just followed him, and I've always liked what I've seen out of him. It's hard to be successful in Miami, and he was under
mm.
Gase there. I mean,
Yeah,
of course
yeah,
he's not good, um, but he's in Tennessee has been thriving. So
true.
we'll see if he can be the guy who can win the game for him. I do expect them to win. I think they were the number one seed for a reason, and I
Mhm.
expected them to be there. Uh,
Yeah,
who knows if they can beat Buffalo or KC, but
I,
I think they're a good team.
I'll put it this way: if Derrick Henry is fully healthy, they will beat the Cincinnati Bengals. If he's not fully healthy, you will know by the time the first quarter ends if he's healthy or not. Like by the time it ends, you can kind of get the feel for the game. But I'm with you. I will be picking Tennessee to beat Cincinnati. I don't know what the line is. I
I think
don't
right
think
now it's three.
by three. Okay,
Tennessee's favorite.
by three. I'll take the three because it's going to be a very close game. I mean, I don't see the line changing by much because both teams are coming off of. I mean, Tennessee's off on a bye, but with Cincinnati winning the way they won, I don't see it changing by much. Maybe a point here and there, maybe by four, maybe who knows. But with Cincinnati coming in, I think Joe Burrow will have to throw the ball more instead of running it because that Tennessee defense is pretty stout. So I think he may be thrown into some sort of situations that he's not seen yet because Mike Vrabel is a very good defensive coordinator. I mean, he's
Yeah.
played the position. He's very good. So he'll have some weird like blitzes, some weird schemes for Joe Burrow to he has to dissect very quickly or else it's going to be a very long day, very, very long day. But we'll see.
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
We'll see. We'll do it, but guys, we'll do another show. Don't worry, we'll do another show. Depending on what time we may do a show on Friday or even Saturday morning before these games come out. So at least you guys have time to bet or do whatever, or even have we'll have David back on to see what he feels the picking is, so you guys can win money too, and he can say what he had on how his streak went, how did he favor last week, so we can have that kind of discussions too. So. But right now we're just going to kind of call it a day. And please like and subscribe to the channel. Please follow us. If you guys have any comments or anything, please let us know. We're here for you. We've done all these videos for you guys for entertainment. So let us know, man. I mean, just comment. we're all here for you, man. Peace and love.
Yep. In closing, shout out to my girl Naomi Osaka, who won her opening match at the Australian Open. I fully expect her to defend her title there. That's all I got. Peace out, y'all.
Peace out. Peace and love.